Hi. So, right now I just want to touch on a subject of about dowsing. Um, I've touched on this before, but I just want to be a little more articulate about it. And I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to say this yet, but I'm just going to kind of wing it. So, the methods of dowsing that I was taught in the beginning, pendulum dowsing, by the way, which was, the yes, yeah, this is yes, give me a no, no, right? And then maybe, there's my maybe. And so anyway, back to quantum dowsing. um, so the dowsing system that I learned in the beginning was was a system that was more of an answer finding system than an identification system. But what I was also taught in the system is that it's possible to change anything to be what you want it to be. And there are a lot of people that seem to be very successful at this, although not everyone is. And I think this is very important because when everybody can do something, there's almost like no hierarchy anymore of I can do it and you can't. The hierarchy then becomes a hierarchy of like experience and knowledge and expertise rather than I have a skill that you don't have. And what seems to me to be the case is that some people are very good at the way of dowsing that changes the energy of things. So let's say I used to walk into the grocery store and buy a cantaloupe. Okay, I buy the cantaloupe. First I check it and I would see, put this pendulum up to the cantaloupe and say, is this a food for me? Is this a food for me? Or is this a food for my soul or whatever like that? And then my pendulum would give me kind of an answer. And then I would get the cantaloupe home and I would do this system of, and I believe this is Raymond Grace's system of, I would remove any and all negative or non-beneficial energies from the food, and then remove any and all negative energies from the food, and then I would charge the food to its highest appropriate life force level and charge it to its highest appropriate energy level. I've always been pretty excellent at dealing with entities and stuff like that, so I would remove any entities and all of that kind of thing. So that system worked for me pretty well, but it wasn't 100%. It wasn't ironclad bulletproof like I need a system to be, It worked most of the time. It worked about 95% of the time. And a lot of people would be like, oh, well, that's a great, that's a pretty good percentage. I can live with that. Well, I just don't have the luxury in me of being able to deal with an answer being 95% right. All I can seem to see is that 5% that's not right. And I kind of become really focused on that because to me, that 5% can come out at the worst times, Like when you really need that 95% right to be there, that 3 to 5% of being wrong seems to come in just at the right time. So it really made me question the techniques and the overall philosophy of dowsing. And what I found to be the truth for me is that I can't change things the way that I thought that I could. Actually, what I was doing in the past is, so if I was raising the energy of a food or an object, actually what I was doing was I was taking what a thing is in its creation. Okay, let's say that old saying, it is what it is true, okay? And something is what it is in its creation. Then I was taking another layer and adding it on top of what it is. Because honestly, I never checked to see what it is to begin with. I never had that system in place of really checking what it is in its creation. What was this in the beginning? Because of the old, I love, these old sayings, as it was in the beginning, it shall be in the end. To me, that's a real true thing. So what is the point then in changing the energy of something if it's going to be what it was anyway? Now, I'm trying to put this in a really concise way because it's a very important point that I'm probably going to come and make a number of more videos about this same subject. So what I used to do in the beginning is add layers on top of what something is, because I didn't really give a damn about what something was, because I believed I could change everything. You know, why did I believe that? Well, because someone else told me that I could. Why did they believe that? Well, I don't know. Maybe they found that on their own, and maybe somebody else told them. But what I've found to be the truth, a bigger truth, a more broad and expansive truth, is that things are what they are. You can't just make things be what you want them to be. That's what I found, is that I can't do that. I can't just change this crow who's talking to me right now and change him into a blackbird. He's going to be a crow no matter how much effort I make to turn him into a blackbird, you know? And so I would just, you know, be better off loving the crow for being who he is rather than trying to change him. And I use that same philosophy with everything, with any food that I'm buying, with, you know, I just bought a car, and I checked and checked and checked, diligently checked to make sure that this car was in the energy of my higher self at its creation point, because then I don't have to change anything. There's nothing to change. What's there to change? It's perfect. It's perfectly in line with my higher self, and there's not a damn thing anybody can do about that. Nobody can put a layer of negative junk over that. I just remove that if it's there, because it doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to the car. The car is what it is in its creation. So what I found was I couldn't make a Toyota Corolla work for me. I wasn't willing to make a Volkswagen Bug work for me. You know, because I know the truth. If I ignore what things are and their creation, I choose to try and force them and bully them into being what I want them to be, the repercussions are all on me. So this bullying thing is big, because food is the same. Food is living. This is living stuff, you know, and I don't believe that it's kind to try and force things into being what we want them to be. Whatever happened to accepting things for what they are? We do that whenever we have to, but a lot of dowsers just want to change things based on their needs. Now, that might work for them. I know a lot of successful dowsers who can do that. Well, what about the rest of us? See, I'm not interested in teaching a dowsing technique to anybody that's going to work for an exclusive group while the rest of the people, my people, suffer from a lack of knowledge, a lack of know-how, a lack of being able to function at their highest potential in this reality. And that's really what this dowsing technique that I'm teaching is about. It's about how do we all function to our highest. And what I'm saying is that if we acknowledge things for what they are, instead of trying to make things what we want them to be, then reality doesn't have to bend to our will. Our will is to identify things for what they are and to utilize creation as not only a means of enlightenment, a means to enlightenment, but as a means to compassion and acceptance, and utilizing resources wisely. Now, the neat thing with this dowsing technique is that it actually, when you just accept things for what they are, and you look for things as they are in their creation, it really opens up your mind to the great experience of this moment, because I don't have to make anything be what I want it to be. I can simply look for items that work for me, and then I can use those items or objects to thrust my evolution forward, or vice versa. The things that I would have preferred in the past, you know, it's not about what I prefer anymore. It's about, do these objects, do these foods match my higher energies? Are they in my sacred heart energy? Are they in my higher self energy? And so then I don't have to change anything. I can simply use what is in creation as a tool for enlightenment. Now, I don't really know where other people are in life, but what I found is that identifying things for what they are and utilizing that for our own evolution speeds things up a hell of a lot more quickly than trying to change every damn thing into being what we want it to be. Because actually what I've found is that everything we need is right at our fingertips. Everything. All the food that we need for ascension is right here. You don't have to have organic food like that. Like, you can really live in the moment and find what right now is going to accelerate your evolution. So we'll talk about this more in the future, but I just kind of want to do maybe a few videos and lay out the groundwork of what I'm talking about. I hope you all have a great day. Peace.